imagine that lines to Kabul aren't that reliable at the moment. But we are going to be joined right away by animal welfare activist who was with us last night, Dominic Dyer, and also Deborah Meaden from Dragon's Den, of course, the star of TV and radio. And she, too, is very much involved with the Nowzad charity, I believe. Are you both there? Hello, Dominic.
I'm here. I am indeed. Yes, I can hear you.
And is Deborah there?
I'm here too.
Dominic, I've been following Pen's misfortunes today. We're hoping to get hold of him in a minute. But the last I heard, that it was going from bad to worse for him, that his wife and one of his colleagues had headed to the airport to try to get back to Britain, and they've gone missing.
Yeah, they are now safe. But
Oh,
I think the problem here is that they were going to get them on a commercial flight. We've been led to believe from the Pentagon and Ministry of Defense and everyone else that things are getting better at that airport. Well, Penn will tell you, and he's been on Sky News this evening to say that it's absolute chaos. And he was horrified because his wife and his operations manager, who's late stage pregnant, were caught in a queue and were being crushed in a confined space with crowds, all over the place, and anarchy effectively. And there were soldiers on the other side of the barrier, British soldiers, that refused to intervene to help. And Penn is a former serviceman, as you know, and he said he would never be in a position if he wouldn't have intervened. It made him very angry, but I think it goes right to the heart of the crisis that we face with the rules of engagement for our military forces, those of America and Britain on that airport. They're basically being told to not even enter into the civilian side. They can't help anyone that gets into problems in those areas. And people were dying yesterday, falling off cargo master aircraft and all the rest of it. And yes, it's complete and utter chaos. And we're not going to get anyone out. And we're lobbying very hard, of course, to get these nurses, vet care teams and their dependents out. But no one's going anywhere until you can sort out that airport and make it secure.
What is the situation since yesterday regarding the 25 staff of Nowzad? Are we any nearer managing to, as you say, rescue the rescuers?
We're getting there. There's been meetings with Dominic Raab today with MPs going in and seeing him. We've got lists, of course. The Prime Minister has those lists. Dominic Raab has those lists. The Home Secretary has those lists. The Ministry of Defence has also spoken. Wallace, the Secretary of State, has said that he's very keen to try and sort this problem out. So I think there's no question that at the highest levels of government, they realise that public want these people out. That the veterinary industry is fully supportive of getting them jobs and work. There is work for them in this country. I think we struck a chord, Kevin. I think people think very passionately that we want to help people in this situation. This country has collapsed because we've effectively made it collapse. And we can't leave these people to the Taliban. We can't leave young veterinary nurses and vets to become sex slaves for feudal warlords. They should be in this country caring for animals that they've worked bloody hard to qualify for in the most difficult conditions. We empowered them. We owe them. We can't leave them behind.
Deborah, can I ask you, we all particularly fear for the fate of the female nurses and vets that work with Pen. The Afghani Taliban are saying, oh, we're a new improved Taliban, but I'm not putting too much store by that, are you? And they do not like women who work in jobs, who are educated and emancipated. That's the nature of the crisis here, isn't it?
Well, it is. And I guess the point is we don't know yet how the Taliban are going to be. All we can look at is the way they have been, and they've proved themselves to be in the past. And it is a massive, it's an untakeable risk to leave these women in a situation where they are either fearing for their lives or almost worse, as Dominic says, living a life as sex slaves. And these are, I cannot imagine the challenges that these women have already faced to get them, they're the first female vets in Afghanistan. They would have offered hope. They would have offered inspiration. They would have been through massive challenges. And we led them to that hope. And we've led them to this danger, because to walk away from them now and leave them exposed as the very, very people by nature of their gender that the Taliban have shown themselves in the past to really not like, and be perfectly happy to take out some pretty nasty actions, take actions against them. I don't think we can leave them. I think it's unthinkable
We've got to get them out there. I totally agree with you, Deborah. We've got to get them out. I totally agree. Now, I think we've got Pen now. So if you don't mind, we're going to go over to Pen in Kabul. Are you there, Pen?
I am indeed, yeah.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you all again.
Thank you very much for joining us again. You've had a harrowing day. Dominic just told me, because I've been following, that you lost your wife and your colleague for a while, but they're safe now. Tell us that story. How did you manage to relocate them?
My wife's Norwegian. My country manager, she is an American. She's 32 weeks pregnant, and she's got a young son, a year and a half. And they got the call from their relevant embassies to get to Kabul airport. They were given the location, the gate to get to, and off they went. And when they got there, there's crowds of people there waving their passports in the air, trying to get to the gate. And then they realized behind them more people were still coming in. It's just a narrow road. It's nothing. There's no filter. There's nothing where anybody is checked or look. They look into how you're going to get through. And they ended up then being pressed towards the front. And you can imagine, obviously, a woman who's 32 weeks pregnant. They've got obviously a young son, year and a half, and I'm in contact with them. I'm also in contact with the quick reaction force on the other side of the gate. And I'm saying they're there. This is now turning into disaster. They're being crushed. You guys need to open the gate, release the pressure. The soldier on the other end, and if I ever find out who he is, me and him are going to have some words, because he refused to open that gate. They were so lucky. Gunfire then, and we've now the gunfire came from inside the camp, trying to scare people away. They're shooting to scare away people who have been told to go to Kabul airport to be evacuated.
Your wife and your colleague, where are they now, Pen?
Obviously, for a while we lost comms. They were in that medley of people, trying to get into the airport. So they managed to get back out. There's another secure location there that the expats are using. They wouldn't let them in. So they ended up having to drive across Kabul in the dark through all the Taliban checkpoints to get back to where they originally started. If anybody tells me that this operation is working, they need to resign from their job immediately. I just listened on the news that tomorrow the Americans are boasting they're going to have 9,000 people going through that airport every day for the next 10 days. There is no way. People are going to die. People are going to get injured. We are not going back now, regardless of what happens with obviously our campaign to actually get our staff out. We are not putting ourselves in that position. My country manager, her small child, and my wife are absolutely traumatized.
I'm just so
relieved. They could have died today.
I'm so relieved you found them and that they're safe. Can we just talk about your staff and your animals right now? What is the situation vis-a-vis getting them out of there? How are you getting on with that?
In regards to get my staff out, we've heard nothing, obviously, from the government. So I'm afraid I have absolutely no more information to tell you. What I can say, though, is regardless, the support that they've had has been such a boost. Knowing that so many people care about them from all over the UK, from all over the world, actually, to be honest, is unbelievable. I know. It is just
the support we've been getting, Pen, is as you say, phenomenal. What will happen to your animals?
We have obviously our cargo plane. We have our plan B for them. But after the scenes of today, if people, who are generally being told to get to the airport, can't actually get into the airport, how the heck am I meant to get 3 trucks of animals into Kabul airport? This has been an absolute masterclass in how to do everything wrong. And I'm what we need to do now, there is only one solution for this, and I cannot believe I'm about to say this. Right now, Boris Johnson, Joe Biden, they need to admit we lost this. Everything we've done for the last 20 years has gone. The Taliban are now in charge of Afghanistan. Nobody is going to start a war with the Taliban again. Nobody else wants to see the loss of life that would cause. So they need to now, whatever they do, they need to now talk to the Taliban and secure passage for all those people who want to leave. Because saying get to the airport does not help. You can't get to Kabul airport.
Yeah, well, as you found out, it's just we can see
it's a disaster.
I'm watching it on the telly now. I'm watching it on the telly here. It is a disaster area. Deborah, can I just quickly ask you, are you able to kind of vocalize how people can help? What can we do back here to help Pen and his staff in this awful predicament?
Well, I just think we need to keep the pressure on. We need to make a lot of noise. I mean, I have not been able to concentrate all day today. I cannot imagine what you're going through there, Pen, and I have not been able to think of anything else. And we should. This is too important. We need to make a noise. We need to contact our MPs. We need to tell our government this really, really matters. And frankly, I am horrified by what Pen is saying, because I am really worried that they're going to start saying, yeah, we've got all these planes, we can get all of these people out. But I hadn't understood. If you can't get the people to the planes, there is no point. So we need to watch them, and they need to know we're watching. I also, the charity needs funds. They need money to get these animals out. They need money to get these people out. So I know that if you go to the Nowzad Twitter page, then I know that you can. That there is a link to be able to donate. But I think the most important thing we can do, we can just make a lot of noise, and not just once. If it isn't sorted, we keep at it until this government understands this really matters, and they need to get it done.
They really, really do. Do anything from your end, Pen, that strikes you we can do back here to help you?
I mean, I fully agree there. We've got to keep the pressure on the government. I mean, I would like to see now Boris Johnson turn into a ball of fire, get his whole cabinet together, and if he does not tomorrow, in Parliament or whenever he meets them all, if he does not rip them to pieces and say somebody's been lying to me, because you've told me that we can get this amount of people out, you cannot. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but the actual team who deal with all the people who need to be moved only just arrived into Afghanistan.
I know.
It's taken them nearly 4 days to get in. So somebody is not telling our Prime Minister the truth. Because on the ground, what he is being told, because I've listened to him talk about this withdrawal, that is not what's happening. Right now, you cannot get into Kabul airport. It is absolutely crazy. And you are putting your life on the line. The Taliban are not stopping me from driving across the city now. I could drive across the city, but I cannot get into Kabul airport because the amount of thousands of desperate people who are also trying to get in. And if you add from tomorrow, when America opens up to 9,000 people a day,
it's going to get a lot worse, isn't it?
It's like walking down a road, a small, a housing estate road, and you're trying to go for a gate the size of a garage door.
It sounds.
It's not planned. It's not thought through. People are going to get injured and die, and so now they need to understand the real life situation on the ground outside that airport.
Last question.
It's a disaster.
Last question, Pen. I presume you're not getting any. Are you getting any problems from the Taliban themselves? Because you said last night they've kind of moved in next door to your sanctuary.
Yeah.
Are things okay at the moment?
Yeah. Again, it's not something I thought I'd say, but they haven't bothered us. They're next door. We've seen them walking out, around, but they've not even come into us. So at the moment, we honestly don't know what to think. I think it's the calm before the storm, but once the Western community's gone, like as I said when we talked to you before, we're not coming back. There isn't a prime minister or a president who is going to commit to the loss of life it would take to, remove the Taliban from Afghanistan again. So I think they are literally just waiting until we've gone. But right now, they could clear the outside of the airport with just a statement. All they have to say is, do not go to the airport unless you have been told by the Western governments that you have a space on one of these flights.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll arrest you. The fear of being arrested by the Taliban would clear everybody from outside. Yeah, I think it's going to take Biden and Boris to actually talk to the Taliban to make that happen.
Pen, listen, Godspeed. We're thinking of you. Hopefully we can talk to you again maybe tomorrow and find out what's happening. Deborah, thank you very much for your time and your valuable contribution. Is Dominic still there? Oh, no, he's gone. Dominic, a quick last word from you. A quick one, Dom, because we're...
Accountability. We should see the Defense Secretary and the Ministry of Defense, the Secretary of State and Ministry of Defense in the US on that airport in the morning, taking control. This is something that Biden walked away from. You can't do that. You've left a nation in wreck. You've got people that need to be rescued. You have accountability. And there's no accountability in Downing Street. There's no accountability in the bloody White House. People are going to die. Women are going to get raped and murdered. And we've got to get in there, take control, take bloody responsibility for what we did and all those lives lost. And we've got to get this set right. We can do it. We can put it right. We'll never end the tragedy of this conflict, but we can end it better than it's being ended at the moment. Yeah,
and let's rescue the rescuers. Dominic Dyer, thank you very much for your time. And Deborah Meaden, and of course, Pen Farthing over there in the escalating tension and hell of Kabul. I'm Kevin O'Sullivan, and this is Talk